Okay, we are back with one of our favorite formats, a shortie, in which in less than 10 minutes, we take a term used in the cross-border space and tell you what it is, or we just answer a quick question for you. So we just completed tax filing. Obviously, if you had an extension, that's a whole complete different story. And so in today's shortie, we want to answer the question for you: how long should you keep your tax records? Manasa, I'm just going to let you have this for the next couple minutes because this is your space. How long should we keep our tax records, Manasa?
Yeah, you would think that that would be a simple answer. So let's start with the simplest one then. You keep copies of all your tax records for as long as you think it's necessary. The statute of limitations on your tax records, if you have a refund available, is 3 years, and if not, then it's basically open. And I'll explain. You should be keeping your tax records themselves for as long as it's necessary. But the supporting paperwork behind a tax return, which has been done and dusted, is 3 years from the due date of filing the returns. Now, if you did not file a tax return at all, for whatever reason, then you should still be holding on to those work papers. But of course, the papers that were sent to the IRS by various agencies, they are available on the IRS's website. You could create an account and you could go and download it, but they are not available 10 years after, the year in which you're looking for them. So
okay, wait, hold on, sorry. You said supporting documents. Can you give an example of a supporting document?
Yes. So a supporting document would be something like a W-2, which shows your income, or a 1099, which shows your interest earned, so on, 1099 DIV for dividends and so on. So those would be some of the supporting documents. Other supporting documents, maybe if you had a business, would be a profit and loss account and all the receipts for the expenses and so on. So going back to that, you would keep those records indefinitely if you never filed a tax return. And if you knowingly filed a fraudulent tax return, which you should not be doing, but if you did, then you do need to keep those supporting papers indefinitely. And also very important, especially for our listeners, is if you are a U.S. or you were a U.S. citizen or a green card holder who surrendered your citizenship or your green card, then I would suggest to keep your records indefinitely. So that's about the tax records. And there's one other thing there that I would like to add is, for some reason, you later on discovered that you did report your income, but what you had reported was inconsistent by more than 25% with what you actually earned, then keep those records for 6 years is what is recommended. And so that's basically all of the records that cover your tax return.
Okay. And so I guess if you amend your taxes, the same thing applies?
Yes. Okay. So if you went, yes. So if you, if you needed to amend your return and you knew there was a refund that you could expect from that year for which you're amending. However, if it's been more than 3 years since that year for which you're filing, then the statute of limitations is closed. So you cannot get a refund for that year, if it's been more than 3 years though. So if you're amending your return to add more income and pay more taxes, then really there's no statute of limitations on that at all.
That's horrible.
I know. It is what it is.
Okay. Yeah,
we
I guess
just
it's
the messengers.
Yeah, it's a tax rules. Anything else we got the years, anything else to how long you want to keep your records? So let's say I know we were talking tax records, but it just occurred to me, let's say you sold a property. How long do you want to keep those?
Yeah, I tend to be of the mindset that if I'm going to put things online, I'm going to pick a good cloud place or a USB drive if I don't trust a cloud storage. But I'm going to hold on to those sales, records for at least 6 or 7 years, if not more. And if I'm a non-resident of the US and I have sold property, a real estate property in the US, then I am going to hold on to those property records and other records until my case is resolved. So I think that we can kind of go into more detail on a different episode about this, but there are FIRPTA rules where the taxes are withheld at source when a non-resident of the US sells real estate in the US. And what we know right now is the Internal Revenue Service takes a long time to review and refund those taxes withheld. So you may end up holding on to those records for a long time. So at least do that till your case is resolved and you do actually get that refund. Yes.
Okay. No, that sounds great. So 3 years indefinitely until the case is resolved is almost what I'm hearing. But of course, we know there's always more. Okay, anything else you want to add to that, or should we bring it to a close?
One quick thing that I would like to add is if you, again, are a non-resident and you were working in the US and you have enough Social Security credits, then I would suggest that you hold on to those employment records and do create an account on the Social Security website and make sure that those numbers line up. But please do hold on to those employment records, at least until the time that you have applied for Social Security from wherever you're living, and you know that the correct number of credits are on the Social Security site as well, and you're getting what you should be paid.
Okay. That sounds great. I love that. I know we just started with how long, and you've actually gone into some more details of things that we still need to know about how long to keep those records. And with that, I think we bring it to a close. How does that sound?
Absolutely. Yeah. And do, friends, really quickly before we close, other records like, insurance, mortgage, creditors, debtors, all of that. Make sure that you know what the information is on that and how long you should hold on to it. We covered very briefly the Internal Revenue Service and Social Security, etc. So, thanks for listening. Bye.
Okay, bye.